And again, one of my other bosses calls me up. He says, I got a job for you. I said, what is it? And I said, well, I can't tell you right now.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Come down and see me. Okay. So I go down to see him, and he says, I got a job for you. I'd be chief engineer. I said, great. What is it? He says, well, I can't tell you. I said, well, where is it? Well, I can't tell you. But it'll be a good job. Be a lot of travel involved, but it'll be a good job for you. I said, well, when can I find out? And he says, well, if you say yes, then in a couple of weeks, I'll tell you what it is.
All right.
So, why not? Why not? So a couple of weeks later, he says, all right, come on back down here. I got to tell you some things. I said, okay. So I go down to his office, and he says, come on with me. And we go off into these tunnels underneath the buildings again.
That's awesome.
And there's this big door with a big knob and a do not enter and all the security whiz bang things on it. And he opens up the door and says, come on in here. And I walk in the door, and there's a bunch of guys who I hadn't seen in about 3 years. I always wondered what happened to them. And they were in this room. It turns out that's where they were doing the F-117.
Ooh.
They were doing the start of the B-2. That's where Tacit Blue was. And there was another thing that I was going to be the chief engineer in. And we all operated out of this room with all kinds of interesting things going on. And so as part of that, I can talk about this part. Part of that, I was part of the B-2 source selection.
Wow.
And we did all that in a completely covert, unobservable, direct contact kind of operation. The team that evaluated the two competitors, which I can say was Northrop and Lockheed, we went out to Northrop, and this was something that we all sort of took a big gasp with, because we wasn't sure what Northrop was going to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So they take us in this room and they start showing us pictures of the XB-36, and not 36, 35, and the 49, the flying wings, and the original Northrop flying wing. And we're sitting there going, what are they doing? And then they take us in. They take us in this other room. They show us what their B-2 would look like. Okay, so we stayed there for about 4 weeks evaluating their proposal as what they would do for a B-2. And then we went home for a week, and we went back up to Lockheed for about 4 weeks and evaluated what they were doing. And then we had a briefing and said, this is what we think about Northrop, and this is what we think about Lockheed. And the people who were doing the review of this stuff said, okay, we'll let you know what's going to happen. And they took it off and do whatever they do with source elections, which is interesting, but unknowable.
Were they both flying wing designs? I mean, was it comparable, or was Lockheed completely different?
No. Lockheed was completely different concept, and that's about all I can say about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Valid.
But the B-2 was the B-2 as it was. Mm-hmm. About the only thing that changed from it was the inlets went from the bottom to the top. Okay. And other than that, it was pretty much the same. And it plan form changed a little bit. And I kind of did the engine part of that stuff for a while.